This is going to strike you as a little weird because I want to make sure you've got this resource, the 5 shapes of the pentatonic. Pentatonic, pent, is a 5-note scale. So there's a shape that starts on each one of those 5 notes. These are the 5 identical notes all across the guitar, just starting on each different note in succession. As I give you this resource, you should have a section in your book, or maybe even an entire notebook, for scales, a section definitely for pentatonic, and this would be 1 page of it. Of course, I learned pentatonic number 1, the minor pentatonic shape, first, and played with that a lot, and then number 2. Then I found out there were 5 of them, so I played all 5, and I play them in succession up and down the neck. What I don't want you to do is what I did. I played 5 scales, up and back and up and back. If I wanted to be in scale number 4, I had no idea where it was. I had to start at number 1, play number 2, play number 3, play, okay, here's number 4, now I'll play here. What we've been doing is actually the better way to learn your scales, which is to use them note by note and play them repetitively. We've played in the open E pentatonic shape. I've drawn this with this row of frets so that this movable scale has a finger in the first position of each scale, regardless of where we started. This, though, can be open as well in our E, as we've seen. Starting on the open E, replace all these with opens. This would be the E minor pentatonic, which we've been using also on that note, the G major pentatonic. What you want to do is create an awareness. Amazing Grace is pentatonic. This row of notes starts it off. Then that note, open. This note, open. Will the circle be unbroken? Same notes. Worried Man Blues. This Train, Auld Lang Syne. Sweet Home Alabama. Wish You Were Here. You start to play around this area and you recognize this pattern is pentatonic. This scale is also pentatonic. It's the extension which we slid from here out into this 2-fret rule. Take the high note, move out 2 frets, work out the pentatonic pyramid, etc. That was also Wish You Were Here. Face to face, live time, I'd have you play 3 or 4 notes. When you're really comfortable with those, add a couple more. When this scale is nice, move on to the next. Work on the pyramid. Learn that the pyramid's always added to that other scale. Add the rest of that position. Work on all of that, get your fingers used to it, play it over and over and over again. That's the main way I'd want to do it, soloing all the way through, but also relating things you already know and showing you how those are pentatonic and can become part of your solos. And then there's another way to look at it, and this is this broad scheme where you see them all. If you take in a whole bunch of information all at once, as I've said before, you can actually learn some of them better in the sense that they compare to the others. This isn't a random set of notes where you go from 2nd to 4th to 3rd to 5th to 3rd to 5th, but it's part of a greater scheme. And it compares to other scales. Oh, okay, so this scale has a little step and then a big step, compared to this scale with 2 little steps. That's how I'll differentiate them. You can have your brain working on these ideas where this is like that, but different in this way. When you learn that, and it's all alterations, you can learn a greater amount of material. So there's 2 ways to do it. There's one that's super in-depth and repetitive, and you just iron that one in. But then to keep it from becoming random, you compare it to all the others and see why it's different from them. So one exercise is to play all of these. This is scale 1. I'm using the open for this. Open E, scale 1. this higher note, I'll learn the next scale. Some people need to go back and hit this. They've tonicized their ear to this key, so no matter which scale we're doing, they could be out in scale 3. And they want to get back here. Go ahead and do that. Keep tonicizing back to that if you want. When you're good at this one and good at this one, they may seem like two isolated ideas, but then you can also line them up in these pictures as I've done and see that this higher horizon of this jigsaws into the next scale. 3, let's use E for instance, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. There they are again, 3, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3. This is almost like an equator joining the two sides. So then this side, where we've got 3 notes lined up, 1 jigged out to the left and 2 more, becomes the origin point of the next scale. So here's number 2. That row there on the left, on the right side of scale 2 becomes the left side of scale 3. By ear you could find the others. Not that. Nope. Okay, so if I know all these origin notes on the equator, I can find all the others. This row is the opposite. It's a really interesting mirror image. We had 3 in a row, 1 off to the left, 2 in a row. On the other side of that scale, we have 4 in a row, 1 off to the right and back. So that then joins the two scales, jigsaws the next one on there. Again, by ear you could figure this out. And then you get number 4. From number 4 we can 2-fret rule a little bit into number 5. This really symmetrical pattern on 4, 2 notes lined up, 2 notes to the left and back, 2, 2, 2, becomes part of scale 5. You can work out the other fret, or something I was clueless to, and this really irritates me, is number 5 isn't like only 5 scales higher than number 1, it's 1 scale lower than number 1. So if I had normal pentatonic here, so I had opens and 3s, 1 octave higher, 1 octave higher is 12s and 15s, and 14s there. Well, this equator that puts the jigsaw on the left has to be the right side of scale 5. After I did scale 4, I had the left side of scale 5. So in this position it's 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 10, 10. And also 12s from scale 1. So it's 10, 12, 10, 12. Now I'm back to number 1. Foolish me, I never played backward. I didn't come to number 1. And back into 5 there. There will be a point when we're talking about the 2-fret rule where I will link them a little bit and say, well, there was 2 frets higher than this available and 2 frets lower. Somehow that still wasn't enough for me to purely link them. So do that, play them all, but don't make that your prime goal. Memorize each shape, play them one after the other, but what I want to show you is a better way to use them. I'm presuming at this moment that we're soloing in each and feeling pretty good about these 2 at least, and now it's time to move forward a little bit. This next thought kind of amuses me, because we have this mentality where When we learn something cool, we think, oh, I wish I'd known this forever. And that's like saying, I wish I knew how to run really fast before I walked, because now I know the value of running. You can't tackle everything at once. Your knowledge base is built upon a foundation, and it's built up. You're only ready for certain ideas at certain times. When I talk to group classes, I use words like primary chords, major scales, whole steps, and half steps, and those are just whistling over their heads for months. One day, some little item will click, and then they'll start to gather that vocabulary back together. Years into something, somebody might say, why didn't you ever tell me that? And honestly, I know I couldn't have told them less than a dozen times, but you're just not prepared to hear it. In fact, you actually don't hear it. Our brains are only taking in a small fraction of what's being said or what we're seeing at any moment. We're just not prepared for things, so we're not registering them. Our brain will not pay attention to them and reserve them. Later on, things will start to click and they'll make sense. So this idea makes so much sense to me now. I absolutely love it, and I use it all the time. It's something that you can put into your thinking right away and see if it gives you some value, but don't ignore playing the scales and learning each one. What I want to do is play these octave segments. In this first scale, your minor root is here and here. You've played 5 notes before you hit that same note again. I'm going to move this to F now so that we see the exact same fingerings moving around. So first fret, pinky, first fret, ring finger, first fret, ring finger. That's 1 octave and a very nice pattern. A stretch and 2 smaller steps. This is an augmented step or a minor third, and then 2 whole steps from the root. Previously we were in E, I'm in F now. F to F. Well, if that's F, how about if I got to this F? Have you learned your fretboard yet? Here's why you want to. I'll go to this F. You said minor third and 2 whole steps. Cool. So now I didn't have to walk through 4 scales to find scale number 4. I took an idea that I know in scale 1, found another F and repeated it. Notice I'm on a different string. So I get the same octave. When you switch strings and go up the octave, you're going to go up 7 frets. For instance, we have open E, next string has E at the 7th fret. The next string has it at 2nd, up 7, back 5. This is a little bit of a pattern that I've not really assimilated scientifically into my thinking. It works and some people will find it valuable. I just memorized where my notes were. But if I have F right now at the 1st fret, this F can be found 7 frets up at the 8th fret on the next string. So this is 8th fret. That means I can go onto the next string, up 7 frets again to 15. Get the same idea. So that's kind of nice. That grounds me into scale 4 there. But something else is happening here too. Why don't I just play it off that F? So minor third, whole step, whole step. There's my F. I'll put my finger on it. Minor third, whole step, whole step. Why? Of course, 2nd string shift. I'm taking a pattern that I already know. I'm starting it on the 4th string. I have to complete it 1 fret higher because I'm running into that 2nd string, which is tuned a half step lower than all the others in relation to previous strings. So now I've got this. What I've done then is when I landed on this F, right at this moment, this is 3rd fret, I can find it in scale 2. There's my minor third, off this note now. Next string, like we saw here, is a major 2nd. Next string is a major 2nd. Oops, we need to shift. So I can do 2 things here. I can actually play this and think of this as one continuous scale. little item. Oh, there's my pyramid there, scale 2. I can find that this little outline puts me right smack dab into scale 2. So F from an octave, 1 to the next octave. There's an F. Why not go there then? I don't have my next string to play on. But this string and this string are the same. So I can finish the scale there. That puts me in scale 3, which I always found a little clunky. I just want you to see how the strings work there though. So I've landed on this F. In F, in this scale, we're at the 6th fret. So I get my minor third, my major second. I want to do another major second, but I've run out of strings. I can wrap around the guitar though, and find that same note down here, and complete the pattern. I've got 3 of these major second moves now, because this one is actually just repeated. So I've got F, A flat, B flat, C. Here's my B flat and C again. I'm just repeating them. And then on the next string is my E flat to F. There's my root again. When I land on that root, lo and behold, I'm in scale 4. So you can do this one idea with leaps. I could leap from scale 1 to 4, go up my 7 frets to fret 8. Here's just my normal pentatonic. Go up to this F. Find myself in scale 4 with the same idea. Yeah, throw on the 6th string now. Now my scale 4 is completed. Or I can play 1 octave, the next, find myself in scale 2 if I want, and complete it. Or stick to that octave, find this next F. Well, that's pretty cool. Now I've got, what, 9 frets of the guitar covered with one very basic, very easy to learn idea. That pattern. Moved up into the next octave. Moved up into the next octave. I may not even be able to visualize scale 3. I might just be happy with that. And back to that F. Or I could flip down here and find another F. And play the pattern there. Another F. Do my pattern again. Minor third, major second. Second string shift. I'm starting on the 3rd string, so this idea has to go up a fret. Two great octaves of the F pentatonic here now. Scale 4, scale 5. So here I've landed in scale 4. I'm playing that at the 8th fret. Hit the octave. I see the exact same shape in scale 5, albeit with the 2nd string shift. Again, that might just remind you, oh, I've learned this scale. There it is. And scale 5 comes on the bottom of scale 1. There's my octave. Back into scale 1. Back into that one lick. Hey, there it is in scale 4 too. So from scale 1, I can move into scale 5 and scale 3 with only one idea. So this can tie all your scales together. I would practice it as I just did. An octave of this, an octave of this, maybe try another incompleted one. Maybe if you're good at it, flip it to the bottom to find your next F. Do the octave pattern, shift onto that note, the octave pattern, there's your F again. As soon as you see this on top, you know you're in scale 1. So you can just finish off all of scale 1. Ran out of guitar. But there you have it again, repeating up 1 octave from where we started. The entire guitar covered with one shape All you have to do is after you've completed 5 notes and you're back on the octave, play that shape again. Hang out there. Find something you like. Here's the F. There it is again. Tie them together. You may regard that as musical or not very musical, but what you want to do is learn the areas, learn the patterns, ingrain your fingers to them. Something interesting is happening here. When you play your guitar and you run through scales or patterns, which I really actually avoid probably too much with my students. I don't give them drills that much. I want to play songs and look at sort of more unifying principles. But just actually playing the guitar is mapping it into your head. We don't have perfect pitch, only a small fraction of us do. Very few people could tell you what the F's going to sound like. Very few people could look at a guitar and go, there's an F, I know what I'm going to hear. But there is actually a part of your brain that does know that. What's actually happening on a deeper level is I am predicting the notes I want, hearing them and knowing someplace in an unconscious mapping where they are. And when you can get out of that conscious pilot mind, your body will find them. The way you have to do that though is drill. Just play and play and play. Know where you are. Don't just play those frets and think, pinky ring, pointer, etc. Think of where you are. You're in the F scale. You're starting on the F and playing a minor scale. So you have a minor third. There's my F again. We get about 5 positions covered in that one movement, and we get them again if we start on this F. All I have right now is 2 starter Fs. Got all the way to here, I can jump to this F. One idea, knowledge of where 2 Fs are, one on the 6th string, one on the 5th. I got the whole guitar covered. See what you can do with that. Do memorize these, write them down, practice them, string them together, but also learn how to jump out to each one, either by spotting that root someplace or walking through the pattern. I know I've made this a little bit too interweaving and confusing. You're not going to learn everything I just said in one session or 1 week, but this is a resource. Put it in your back pocket, work on the idea over and over again. We're not finished with that idea. There's other patterns in here that are super useful and a ton of fun. Talk to you guys later. Bye.